Hello and welcome to another episode of Second Gen's Liberated Panda. We have the always fabulous and one of my favorite people here today. His name is Christoph. His Chinese his Chinese name is Lao Lei. So today we're going to be talking all about culture shock. Culture shock from my perspective because uh, I moved from Shanghai, China to when it was a third world country in 1990. Um, to America when I was 4. So I'll talk about that culture shock. And then Christoph, what about you? I'm sure you've experienced plenty of culture shock.
Yeah, that has happened. Germany to the States, Germany to France, Germany to China,
hmm
and whole walking thing. Yeah, it happens.
Well, what was I'm assuming China would probably be the biggest culture shock, right? Because it's kind of like so opposite from everything else.
I would say no,
Oh,
no. And the reason is because I think your whatever you feel, your reaction has to do with your expectation. And so when you go from Germany to China, you're kind of prepared because you think this is going to be weird. This is going to be very, very different. And so like you almost expect it to be more different than it really is. Like when you see a coffee shop and these Chinese people just having lattes all day, you're like, come on, be weird, you know? But when you go from Germany to the States, you kind of expect it to be the same because like you've seen the movies and it's like they look like you. I mean, a lot of them,
right,
and it's like you feel like this shouldn't be that big of a surprise. It should be like I enter a movie,
right,
but then and it's really weird because the details are so odd then because you weren't expecting them.
right.
I gotta say.
So same exact thing. The first time I was ever able to travel was after I finally passed the bar and I finally got to go to Europe, which was like my dream because everyone's like, wow, like Europe is like the epicenter of culture, of like civilization. You're laughing, but this is like Americans think are so fancy and like elegant. And I was just like, wow, I'm like gonna go to the fanciest place on earth. And then
Right.
and then I got there and I was like, wait, why like is there no AC or like heat? And it's like we're in Italy in a pizzeria and the entire like half the restaurant is a big oven and it's 100 degrees outside and I'm like what the heck is going on and then come home to America. I was like, oh, um
Yeah.
I'm glad to be
Yeah.
home. I mean, I love Europe. I'm just saying, like, it's that I know exactly what you're talking about because I was expecting it to be similar to, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think, I mean, there's so many things that you're being prepared for as a German when you go to China. You know, you're gonna have these little what are they called? Like these name cards, 名片,
okay,
right? Your business card. You're gonna have it, and you're gonna hand it over with two hands because that's what they do. And you're never gonna put it in your butt pocket. You're gonna take it, look at it, and put it here or put it wherever. And so you know these things, and you know like you're supposed to toast in a certain way because you know they're weird over there, they're different, it's a cultural difference, but nobody prepares you for the States.
right,
You go and you don't know like the intricacies of for example, a superior person offering you the first name basis, but still being superior.
right.
Whereas for a German, it's like, come on, like make up your mind. Are we on a formal basis or are we like on a friendly basis? It's either this or that. It's not going to be like call me Dick, or like call me Martin, but then I'm still your boss. It's weird that way.
Yes, yes. So, as an Asian person, same here because my best friend in law school was black. And like as an Asian person, like we're like very respectful to our professors. Like we revere them, right? I mean, I don't, but I do, and I like just feel uncomfortable speaking with them like their peers. But then my best friend Mariska will be like, "Yo, what up, Professor? Like Professor Morgan?" And I'm like, "Holy moly! Like what the, like I'm like, I wish I could be that free, you know? So it's like in America, it's even more complicated because there's New York culture, there's California
Mm,
culture, then you go to the South and you better make eye contact with every single person and be waving, or else like there's like hostility, you know? So it,
really?
yeah. Oh, you didn't, have you been to the South?
No, no, no. Well, I've been, but just traveling through, and I didn't look at everybody. No.
Well, it's like if you're in like a neighborhood. So like if
Mm,
so for us, we have an RV. Remember like that we were talking about the RV. So yeah, exactly. When you come, we'll take you. We'll take you to the south, and you'll see what I mean. So we always have to we always have to park in like a RV community. So it's like it's like almost like a gated community for RVs, and we're very, we're parked rather close to each other, and then you have patios and barbecues and stuff like that. And like when you walk around, you definitely need to make eye contact, and you have to wave hi, or else it's just like I don't know, you're going to be ostracized and people are going to be talking, and it's a whole different world out there.
sounds very reasonable to me. Sounds very nice.
Really? Because I heard
Yeah.
Europeans like freak out when like people like smile at them because they think they're gonna like you're gonna steal something from them or something, or you're a thief.
Okay. The smile might be too much. I mean, in Europe, you're also talking about different countries with different cultures.
Right.
Like I've been to Sweden only for like 2 weeks or something,
Mhm.
so I can't really say much about them. But they seem to be very different from Italians
Ah,
in general,
yeah.
right? And
Right.
everybody's Germans, obviously, because we're Germans,
Right.
and so wherever you go, it's going to be different. But in my hometown of 10,000 people in the north of Germany, it's kind of like you still say hi to a stranger on the street. Like you would say, "Guten Abend," "Guten Tag." This is just kind of. It's not like everybody has to do it, but
Right.
if kind of the other person does it and you don't do it, it's just weird. Like, what's your problem? But it's not going to be overly smiley. It's
Right.
still German, still like a formal, cold. I acknowledge your existence. You acknowledge my existence. I don't intend any harm. You don't intend any harm, and it's fine. But yeah, that might be weird in a big city. So I mean, there's so many. Actually, it's a yeah. There's so many culture shocks within the country as well, right?
Mhm.
Like big city to small village.
Mhm.
How are you going to communicate that?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it's fun. So what do like Germans think of like Americans that they find like weird or off-putting?
I remember. Actually, I remember like before I went,
Uh-huh.
and on a high school exchange in Wichita, Kansas, in 1998. And so before I went, I talked to some other kids at school that had already been there, like not in Wichita, but in the States. And they're like, be prepared. Americans are superficial. Like, what does that mean? Like, how can a person be superficial? I mean, like, we're 16. To us, everybody who is not constantly sad is superficial,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like, I don't know, listening to punk rock and being deep. So, like, I'm like, okay, so, like, they don't like punk or what's their problem? No, it's like Americans are very easy with these little nice things that they
Small
say,
talk. The small talk.
small talk, the compliments,
Yes.
and even inviting you to their place without really meaning it. It'd be like, I don't know, we just met, and then I'm like, yeah, I have a summer home in Florida. Why don't you come over sometime? And I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome. But really, I don't plan on it. You don't plan on it. If I really show up, it's on.
I actually do think they plan on it, honestly.
Really?
When I say
That,
come to the RV, I actually mean it. And so
whoa,
and I am that person when I actually genuinely think they mean it. Honestly, I really do.
that, that's really awesome. That's really beautiful. The way I was prepared was you go,
Yeah.
you engage meaningless small talk, you say like all the nice things that you don't really mean, and then it's kind of clear that your ways part and it's fine. And
Yes.
we're like, that is superficial.
Yes.
Uh, we were expecting, and I went and I found. I mean, obviously, some people are really superficial wherever you go,
Right.
but there was a lot of genuine, this heartfelt friendliness there too. What I did find was Germans are not really good at small talk, and I think it has to do with the fact that we don't move that much historically.
Mhm.
Like we're just kind of stuck in the same part of the country. It's fine, and so you don't need to make yourself comfortable with strangers all the time because there's not that many strangers historically. I'm not saying now it's changing, but historically it's like that. So for us standing at a bus stop, We're not going to talk to some random stranger. Why would we do that? But in America, where everybody has been moving for as long as the country has been existing,
Right.
kind of like a life skill, I guess. It's necessary that you kind of stand there and you're like, yeah, we like the same football team. That's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's hang out.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's funny that you mentioned the superficial thing because in China, they have the same exact view of Americans too. Like when I was growing up, my dad would always say, like, oh, I never say I love you. I don't call you honey. I don't call you whatever. He's like, that's all superficial. That's American things. And
Yeah,
now
yeah.
we do because now we've lived here for so long, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, but I remember like him repeatedly being like, Americans are superficial. They say, honey, sweetie, I love you, but then they get a divorce. And and then, yeah, exactly. So he's like, so it doesn't mean anything. And he's like, but when like, I don't need to tell you I love you because I love you. So that's like the Asian thing. And it sounds a lot like the European thing too, right?
Sounds more like it. Yeah. Like this I love you thing has been still until now, it's weird. I think because there's a thing in translation. I don't know what it's called technically, but it's kind of like a false friend. Maybe it's even called that.
Yeah.
Oh, what I mean is a false friend in translation is when a word looks like it could mean the same as it does in your language, but it doesn't in the other. For example, in English, pathetic is I don't know how to describe pathetic, but and everybody knows. But in German, the word pathetisch, which looks like pathetic, describes something very different. Like you wouldn't use it on, oh, that looks so pathetic. You'd be like, why are you saying that? That has nothing to do with this word. It looks the same, but it's you can't translate it that way. And the word or the phrase "I love you" in German means romantic love, deep love. It's nothing you say while you're walking out the door to your mom.
Okay.
No, like I'm in love with you. That's I love you in German or in many other languages. Yeah, but in English it's kind of like you can use it in this way where the person says I love you, and then there's like this huge meaning behind it, but you can just kind of throw it at the door if you want, and what it means in that context. But for a German, it's like, why are you using this heavy thing now? Why don't you just say like I like you? Because that's what you're trying to say, really. Like
Right.
it's romantic love, right?
Right. Or
Yeah,
familiar love, right?
yeah. It's a different branch, I guess, of love. Yeah.
Is there a German love word for your mom and dad? Or no?
Yeah, we say like ich hab dich lieb, which is like I have you, I hold you dear, I guess. You could translate it that way, but you would never, like I would never say to my brother, I love you. It would be so odd.
I completely agree. Like I can say I love you to my parents now in English.
Yeah.
I've never once uttered what I need to a
Yeah.
single soul in my life. Like
Yes.
it sounds like I'm gonna vomit if I say it.
Well, yeah, and it's such a big deal. These words coming out, they have such a heavy meaning to them. Like even if you're in a relationship for a while, you might really think like, does it really like is it worth those words or is it not? So you can't just throw them around, obviously, you
Right,
know. So
right.
this is what I mean. Like sometimes we are duped by these things. Like I'm hanging out in the States and like everybody is in love with everybody here. Like what's with that, right? Like it's obviously I think they're in love with everybody, but it's just the false friend in the translation always throws me off. Like, and I can't really repeat it back. Like somebody says like, Chris, I love you. I'm like, no, you know.
Yeah, no, same here. I'm just like, oh, I'm always like, I do the more casual LUV, love you too, and
Yeah,
instead of
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, work. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
you, it's gotta be love you too.
Yeah, I would like to say something like I hold you dear, like
Right.
something you're very close and very important to me. But it's just not this romantic kind of love that when I say it, I should feel my heart race,
Uh,
right?
that's interesting because when you say I hold your heart dear, it sounds more romantic than I love you to me.
Oh, I hold you dear. That wouldn't be so much, no?
To me, it
Oh,
sounds
really?
it sounds more romantic. Because
Oh,
here I love you. We hear I love you too much. That's probably why.
hmm.
Like,
I don't know how to translate it. Maybe I'm off there too with this "I hold you dear" thing. It's just something I came up with now, but maybe that's wrong too.
mm,
But the phrase that I would use to describe the feeling that I have for my dad, or my brother, or my sister, they're not "I love you."
right, right.
It's yeah, and I think the same goes for China. If
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you say it to your spouse, you say it to your country.
I don't even know if I would say it to myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never uttered those words. So,
Oh, really? Like
Well,
never.
in English, yeah, it's just
Ah,
not in Chinese. Like I say, I love you, singing and whatever, but not like to an actual person. And I
that's
mean,
big. It's a big thing. It
have
doesn't have. Yes.
Oh, see, that's like cool. That's what I love about, like um, that's the culture shock. That's another culture shock that I had when I came to America. So like even though I was only 4 years old, I was already very emotionally repressed. And the fact that I didn't speak English and I was an only child and my parents worked and I was home all day by myself, um like like that in and of itself kind of like m- makes me like not an emotional person. But then like as you grow older, you realize, oh, you can't like people are starting to notice that you're
Mm,
like a robot. So then I'm like adopting like this persona, and it feels fake. And it gives me like anxiety because like I want to be me, but I also want to make the people around me feel comfortable. So like it took me a long time to like middle school was fine because when you're younger, you don't think like you're not thinking. You just say what you want to say. You don't care about what. It's only when at high school and after where you realize like, oh, like I don't know how to express myself emotionally, and I still don't. Um, and it's an issue. It's an issue, especially when I'm dating. It's an issue because like guys tell me that I'm very cold, and I'm like, that's not how I feel on the inside. But like,
mm.
I need to hear it, and I just can't say it.
Do you have three or two or three different personas, like depending on the language you're speaking?
I'm definitely like a little bit more aggressive in Shanghainese, a little bit more loud. I would say like we're like the Italian, like like we'll be screaming. I'll be like "Ba ma no sa," like kind of like that. Like we're so I out of all the European countries, I identify with the Italians the most because I feel like when we talk, it's just very like not elegant like French.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's so that's that one persona. Then my American persona, because like of the modeling and the MTV thing, like I just have a permanent smile.
Yeah.
uh, and I worked as a cashier at my family's gas station my whole life, and you get the smile. So um like this is just my permanent face now. So that's the second persona, and then the third persona is when I'm by myself.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and I'll ask you the same question, but when I'm by myself, I remember the Myers-Briggs personality test that I was telling you about, like with the, you know, um, and I know like if I say it's not going to mean anything, but I'm an INFJ, and like without other people around me, I actually don't have a personality. Like we like we're chameleons, and it's so funny when I finally discovered this about myself and found out I was an INFJ, because my whole life I'm like I feel like a faker, I feel like a chameleon, like I feel like whoever I'm with, I'm a different person. And turns out that's my personality type. So when I'm by myself and there's no like feedback coming to me, I'm I'm nothing. Like I'm no personality. It's very odd. I wish I don't want to be like this. I'm just like this.
Don't you have an inner monologue?
Always in our monologue. Yes, but it's
What's
not
the
emotional or anything.
character?
Um, anxious probably. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
so I always have to distract myself with like a show playing in the background. Um,
Hmm.
even when I'm well, especially when I'm sleeping. But like anywhere I go, like if I'm out shopping, I need to like be listening to a pod. I don't like podcasts, like NPR, or um, I'll like rewatch like the same shows. Just and it, not to I'm not watching. It's just kind of just like I'll hear some of it and I'll take my mind off of it.
Hmm.
And yeah. What about you?
Well, I have very distinct different personalities in different languages. I think it's people can see like sometimes people spill over from my Chinese channel to my English channel, and they're like, "You're so different."
Yeah.
It's